Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Gauntlet, and today is Friday, March 1st, 2023. The Gauntlet first started March 1st, 2021, whatever day of the week that was. I don't remember, but it's so crazy to look back on how many things that the show has done and been able to be a part of, not only with ourselves, with Sideline Sports and the team, JB Ellis, John Shear, Jacob Christner, and all the guys that we work with. Fantastic group of guys, fantastic team. We got some great topics for you guys tonight. Cam Newton and the fight that happened at the youth camp and all the drama. We're going to react to that as well. And then the Minnesota Vikings is our next stop with off-season preview. I am going to break down the team and what I think needs to happen for the off-season. And it's going to be very interesting because I actually think Minnesota is an interesting team and has some interesting decisions coming up. So let's get it started, guys. Let's get the crew in the house. We got Jay in the house. JJ. Dom is not with us, but we got a treat for you guys. Coming off the bench again, Jacob Christner.
What's going on? Every time I saw that clock, going out, I thought Kiefer Sutherland was going to shoot some terrorists.
Jack Bauer, baby.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
I was just over on Jacob Christner's show, Pundits Pundit. If you guys haven't checked it out, tune into his show on Thursday nights. Great show, great content, great group of guys. So let's go ahead and get started with everything, shall we?
All right.
The rapid fire topic. So we did not discuss college very much on this show, but the whole NIL and everything has been a huge topic. So I wanted to bring this up. Do you guys think that the NCAA should give back Reggie Bush his Heisman Trophy, since everything basically he was doing at that time is basically legal for players to do now? Yes or no?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
I think yes, but they kind of can't because they can't because they.
What was the question?
Should Reggie Bush get his Heisman back because basically what is going on now is legal, and it's basically the same thing that he did. It wasn't legal at the time, but the way that they already took his trophy away, it kind of feels disingenuous to me for them to take it back and just So honestly, even though the NCAA did that, I don't even really consider. I still consider his Heisman Trophy. It counts in my book.
Yeah, it still counts.
Yeah. See, y'all, I don't. Again, at the end of the day, he was vacated because they lied about his scores and his education in school. I don't care what they're doing now. It was not illegal back then. You broke the rules. You don't get it back. I don't care what it is. And I felt that way back then. That shows how far we have gone away from what school was supposed to be for. It was supposed to be a student athlete, not just an athlete. If you give him back his Heisman Trophy because you see it doing now, you're just telling people at school, go play sports, or we don't care about your education.
That's what it is anyway.
Okay. Jay, do we got time for one more?
That's a minute 33. It's over.
All right, it's over. The next thing I was going to ask is, what's the best team for Justin Fields to go to? Atlanta? We'll make this quick. Atlanta, Pittsburgh, or New England?
Atlanta.
Pittsburgh. If he really wants it, because they have the best culture out of all those teams, and they have the better roster of all of them. Pittsburgh.
Well, that's true, but here's the thing, JJ. We were talking last night about the report cards for the teams. We were talking about this on Pundit. And literally, Pittsburgh is being carried. Their whole report card is being carried by Mike Tomlin. Everything else is a C, D, or F. So it's going to be it's kind of tough to get there. Atlanta's kind of
disagree on that one because I think their defense with TJ Watt is not a C, and I think their defense
no, different type of thing, different type of report card, like their dietary, their weight room,
facilities, and all that.
Everything is a C, D, and F in that organization except for Mike Tomlin, which is an A. So he's carrying the whole thing. So yeah, you go for Mike Tomlin, but if he leaves, do they keep anybody?
I will still sit there and say yes because their culture is there. Remember, when Tomlin replaced Cowher, they didn't have too much of a drop-off. Those people stayed. So at the end of the day...
We got to wrap this up. So JJ, you got the last word?
Sorry about. But I just think at the end of the day, I know that team. I know what they're capable of, and I know what they could be capable of if they had a quarterback like Justin Fields. That is the best situation for him because they already have a run game and they have a good defense that's just only going to get better. And they are wide receiver factory. They are a wide receiver factory.
Pittsburgh would definitely be better with Justin Fields than they are with Kenny Pickett, but I mean, that's baseball here. So, Sports Moron of the Week, the part of the show where we discuss the dumbest takes and the dumbest moments in sports. So, Sports Moron of the Week, you guys know what time it is. It's time for us to review the dumbest takes and dumbest moments in sports, as I just said. So, Jacob, you're here. You're the guest for tonight. You're coming off the bench. Thank you for doing that.
Yep.
What is your sports moron for this?
Oh, Caleb Williams. There's no darn question because he would not. He was the first one ever to refuse the medical deal with the combine. The reason I say something like this is the fact that I see what he is doing because he hears other players say, I don't like because I feel like cattle. I feel like this. I feel like that. But here is a real problem that he's got. If he fails in the league, and this is about a 3-year stretch like we're talking about Justin's had to be able to be a starter. If he fails, some of the really high ones, if they try to do it, won't even get in at all. If he succeeds, you are literally throwing all in on a pair of deuces. That's what I'm going to call my autobiography one day. Long story. But he's going all in on a pair of deuces, truthfully, on something like that. Because if there isn't another deuce in there, if someone plays poker on that kind of deal, it's going to hurt 10 to 15 years worth of players that ever try anything like that. If he succeeds, might change.
Well, I mean, I feel like it's not really that surprising to see Caleb do something like that. This is very diva-esque of him, which, you know, he's a diva and he thinks that he's already something that he's not. And I also think that he really actually believes by doing this, it's going to cause the Chicago Bears to not draft him. Because he apparently thinks he has the power and control to say, no, I'm not going to the Bears. You're going to whatever team wants you. And if the
please do.
If the Bears actually want him, then they're going to get him.
Get him the hell away from our team. I don't want to see him coming through the tunnel in a strapless dress. I don't want this guy. I don't want him. He's a diva.
No, I don't blame you. I don't blame you, but the Bears may feel differently, which I think they will.
It's going to be the biggest thing about it is the fact that they come up with this idea that he's got all of this confidence. He's got Ric Flair's confidence. And you know what I'm going to talk about for a second there, Denzel. Yep. The Ric Flair confidence, it stretches only to the idea and the limit of alcohol and people around him. He has said himself he can't handle anything being alone. He can't handle it if he does something wrong. That's Caleb Williams.
So I think that the Bears will draft Caleb Williams.
Oh, God.
Simply because they have a lot of pressure on them from the Mahomes thing.
They put it on themselves.
Not even just Mahomes. Like, they also drafted Mitch over Deshaun Watson.
Well, Watson's the real one. Watson's the real one. We're just going to say they did Mitch over Watson. I will not say Mahomes because he was going down before Veach and Reed said yes. He was going down in the draft. They can all say what they want to do, but either way, though, he would have failed in Chicago because they don't have the infrastructure to make it work.
Right.
And that's just what I can say. And so would have and Deshaun Watson would have failed too. It's like this is the same team that had Rex Grossman try to go toe-to-toe with Peyton Manning in a Super Bowl when all they needed to do was run. And they were winning. They don't have an infrastructure to do it. They don't think like this. They keep thinking, oh, we're just going to get an arm, we're going to do it. It's more than that.
All right. Does anybody else want to chime in or give a sports moron?
I was actually going to kind of go with chime in on that because that was going to be my sports moron too. Because at the end of the day, I'm just thinking like, bro, like we have to Aaron Rodgers couldn't get it done. Like, you got to chill out, man. Like, at the end of the day, I don't really Mine should stay in college for the rest of your time because I think whatever team you come to in the NFL, you're going to go through some tough growing pains with these guys. Like, I think you're going to go through some parts of you that you may get treated like Baker Mayfield did from Hugh Jackson back in the day. Like, you have to really kind of like understand that you are coming into a place that everybody's just as talented as you, if not better. And so at the end of the day, if you come in thinking you can make all these demands and stuff, what do you think those guys are going to think about you? And you haven't even shown what you've been able to do. And then what you have shown is that when you lose games, you crumble. You have shown when you're getting bad games and you know that you're hesitant to talk to the media because you know the media is going to kill you. It's like you are trying to cover up the fact that maybe you aren't as mentally tough for this as you want to. So you got to come off being this mean or this BS person for no reason. Like, you are talented, but if you just hush up, get the body and work, you might start to see you actually get what you want. You're not going to get what you want without you haven't proven it yet. Bottom line, you're not getting what you want until you prove it. Period.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
I wouldn't give him crap.
Caleb is definitely a valid sports moron, but Jay, do you have a sports moron that is not Caleb?
Didn't have one. I was just going to weigh in on the Caleb thing just real quick. He's won a Heisman Trophy. I'm not taking that away from him, but to me, he just hasn't done near enough for the demands that he's making, if that makes any sense. Again, you're talking about a dude who choked against Tulane, went 7-5 last season. He's not coming with any national championship. He's not coming with even a conference championship out of college. To be talking like this, it's unwarranted. He won the Heisman. I'll give him that much. He did win the Heisman Trophy, but he's talking like he's coming out of college like Joe Burrow. So shoot, he's talking like he's coming out of college like Joe Burrow or even Mac Jones. At least Mac Jones won a national title. So go ahead, JJ.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We're about to end it, but I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead. That was my wrap up. That was mine.
I guess my final thing is, there's a guy in Kansas City that don't even got that. If he ain't got it, you ain't getting it. Point blank. Period. If he ain't got it, you ain't getting it.
And that's true. But the big thing about this guy whatsoever, is the fact that it's like they're going to be using the excuse that they had 109th ranked defense. Biggest issue is we saw him crying to his mom on the sideline when they tried to cover it up after he lost another game, like third in a row. He's on the sideline in the middle of ESPN late at night crying. That reminds me. See, it wasn't totally on camera because she covered his face. Here's the thing. That's Adam Morrison from Gonzaga. Before the game was over. And you got to remember who shot that three-pointer. A center who never shot three-pointers instead of Adam Morrison. In the game on the line, he was crying. That can happen to Caleb Williams too.
It probably will if he gets drafted by a bad team that's not used to winning. You're gonna lose games.
Yeah.
So, this sports moron segment just turned into like a Caleb Williams roast fest. So I'm gonna shift the gears. A little bit. Chelsea Football Club, and you guys know that I like to watch soccer.
I love
Chelsea is in the Premier League in England. Mm-hmm. They played Liverpool in the Carabao Cup final for a trophy. And it's it's not as big of a competition like the Premier League or the Champions League or something like that, but it's still a trophy. There's still a trophy on the line. And you spent billions of dollars on your players. And Liverpool has like 14 guys injured. They have 14 guys on the injured list, and they have a bunch of 18, 19-year-olds that's never played professional in their lives. And they still go out there and you still lose. Like, the way that Chelsea has fallen apart ever since the American ownership, Todd Bowley of the Dodgers, went over there and tried to carry the American mindset of the Dodgers do, which is they just buy all these players, which is what they're continuing to do, and they still don't win anything. You can't do that over here. These clubs are built off of infrastructure. They're built off of having to manage the players that they have, and if they don't work out, you can still sell them. But you're spending billions of dollars on these guys and signing them to 7-8 year contracts. No other club is going to take that. So you're stuck in a terrible situation. You spend billions of dollars and you don't win any trophies. It doesn't get any worse than that. Like, literally. So Chelsea, sports moron of the week.
By the way, Bacon Grizzler, what up, fellas? I'm gonna be here.
Yeah, what's up, bro? Thanks for tuning in, bro.
Yeah, I'll be going out with my girl for the night. Hope she's hot. But I thought I'd check in and say, what up? Have a good show, boys.
Yes, thank you, sir. So, the biggest thing that made headlines this week was Cam Newton getting in a fight with all these people at this youth football camp. So let's play the video and let's just have a little reaction to that.
I don't think I'm gonna do this.
It's gonna be fun. This is fun to watch.
I'm probably not gonna be able to see it because I had never been able to see videos on here. Never.
I already saw it anyway, so.
Hey, is it loaded on here, bro?
I have two, but I've never.
I added it on there, but okay, it's all right. It's all right. We're not gonna play the clip. Cam Newton. Cam Newton apparently started this whole thing, according to coaches, which is always he said, she said against words and everything. But, you know, based off of Cam's history and the way he does his and has done business, he's been in fights before, been in fights with players. So, you know, whose really side are you on? Like, I kind of have a hard time believing Cam didn't start it. So Cam is trying to build an image for himself as a talking head since he's been out of the league, even though he hasn't formally retired. No teams have been interested in him. So he has a podcast, and he's been saying stuff about Brock Purdy and all these quarterbacks, calling them game managers. I don't really think doing something like this is very good for his image. And people already like to hate on him for, you know, multiple things. So I really think it's a bad look for him, and it was brutal. It was brutal to watch him start a fight and then just get absolutely jumped. So that's all I got to say about that, boys.
Yeah, I agree. It's not very good for his image at all. You know, people already come in droves and disagree with a lot of his talking points when it comes to quarterbacks or, you know, the game of football, or even outside of the game of football. That time that he was talking about, like, how men and women should act, that whole thing, like 2 years ago, you know, and this is just kind of adding fuel to the fire, because you know what type of, as Jacob would put it, emotional nitwits would do is because they're very reactive. We're dealing with a very reactive base oftentimes. And they're real quick to disagree with a point and say, oh, well, you got jumped at a football game. What does it matter to you? Now, is it stupid of them to think that? Sure, but it won't stop them from coming at them and using this as a weapon. On top of that, as it says in the headline, opposing coaches said Cam Newton initiated it. I'm pretty sure there's more to follow as far as the causes, but as of right now, yeah, it's not such a good look at all. Even if he was looking at getting back into the league, and I know we've seen players do worse and get away with it, do worse and have their careers ended. But if he was looking, any semblance of him looking to get back in the league, that's probably all but shot now. But yeah, that's my take on it. Jacob, what you got?
Yeah, I got a two-parter on this part. One's going to the fans, and I got to this thing, and the other's going to this deal. First off, you saw him get climbed on by 5 guys. 5. They're climbing on him. He didn't even come close to going down. He's about 6'6", about 260. One guy goes in there and gives him a sucker punch to the chin. He just looks at him and then just backs off. Fans, shut up. You're not going to do anything to these guys. You won't say anything. This is a man. Cam Newton's a man. As 5'6" guys jumped him, and then they were hanging on him, and he couldn't go down. He's just shoved him off. It looked like a bunch of little kids climbing dad.
Yeah.
And that is a man. And that is the big thing I have to say every time you get these keyboard warriors. Every time you get this. If you see how big his shoulders were and everybody jumping on like a 2-year-old with dad, imagine his hand size.
Yeah.
And him smacking you. Quit thinking you're tough guys behind that thing, because that guy just showed he is. Now, to the other part of this, to Cam. You've given this on your podcast before. Why does Nathan Peterman have a job? Why does Mitch Trubisky have a job? Why does this have a job? Why does, back in the day, we'll just say back in the day, Mike Glennon, any of these. Why do they have, up to 2 years ago, why do they have jobs? They're not doing that. Guess what? All of them have kids. Have a good wife, kids. They have a nice house. They have business on the side. They have all that kind of stuff. They're behaved. This is like, the NFL is a business. And for some, and I know, and I said it before on the thing, I just brought up Mitch in the middle of all that, because guess what? He's in that level of them now. It's over. That part of there. But what I'm saying is he's gonna get 30 jobs before his career's over, all in the third string. But you want to know what it is? It's also an 8th-year guy that knows offenses. They're going to go to that forever. Oh yeah, and he behaves. He behaves. So does I said about a billion things about Nathan Peterman's horrible throwing. He behaves. It's a professional deal. They behave and they know the offense. They can talk the jargon. They can bring these things up. That's all you really need to be able to get a warm body into that thing, because they want you to represent the team well. It's like me working where I work. Represent the company well. It's just the way it goes. That's why Cam's not getting himself another chance, just because stupid thing after stupid thing, and this is the final straw.
Yeah, I can agree with that last one about Trubisky, because look at Chase Daniel. He used to back up Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, even won a ring with them. But he's been a career backup. But, he shows up, he practices hard, he stays ready for whenever he gets called. He knows the offense. And in his career, he's made about $60 to $70 million, which really ain't bad, And all he did was show up and stay out of trouble.
Yeah,
sometimes
and Mitch has already made that in his lifetime. That's what I'm saying. He's made that too. And he's gonna add about 20 more by the time he's over. Just because it'll be the minimum, because he's not good and he's not good for the thing anymore. But he's gonna be making money.
Hasn't Cam made more than that?
Well, from the thing, you got to realize from the start of when you were a starter and everything like that, you've got the starter's role. So yeah, but I'm saying he's not gonna make any more from it.
No, he's got to make money from something. But JJ, do you have a take on this that you want to share?
Yeah, and actually might be a little bit different from you guys, because I'm not as heavily against Cam on as much other people has been on a couple different fronts. Me and my friend Charles, shout out Charles Hopkins, we have talked about this at length. Those guys definitely, I think, were the more the initiators. And Cam, I think I agree with what he said on his podcast. He just should have removed himself in the situation, not let his emotions get to him. But unfortunately, when it comes to egos, that is always not exactly the easiest trans skill. I have played football before in these type of tournaments and seeing this stuff. So it's definitely not just on Cam. 1,000%. And I would definitely say a lot of it is on those other people, because when I see a big star, like I'll reference to the kids that were going at Cam one time, and they went viral for that video because they were talking about him and talking about his career is over, his career is past done. That is the way these people get their name talked about, is they do this. There was diss tracks from the guys before the game. They've been talking trash to each other for years, which other coaches have actually said that as well. So it's not as if these guys are just sitting here just randomly out of nowhere getting attacked by Cam Newton. They initiated it. Cam messed up by continuing it on. And my whole point about Cam that I've always been critical of for this whole situation is, no matter how much it is, because you are the celebrity, just walk away. They're definitely hold more responsibility, in my opinion, than you, because they're walking up to you. They're coming up to you in your face. And at the end of the day, when you're coming up to somebody in your face, you're telling them you want problems or you want to start something. And so I just wish Cam, now he realized that, you know what, look, bro, anytime you go to these football tournaments, I played football one time, and they had a fight. They break out in the championship game because the team that won the championship was the team that was ran by the people that ran the league. So seeing stuff like that happen in those events, I can only imagine what happens when you're dealing with kids, your teenage boys, or whatever the case may be. It's just, next time, handle yourself better, or just have someone else handle it for you. Have someone be able to communicate that for you because you have too much to lose. And with those guys, stop using a celebrity player to get your 15 minutes of fame, because your 15 minutes of fame are about to leave in less than what? Oh, a week. So let's do better. But I do think Cam, I love what he said on his podcast because he really did own up to it. But I just hope it doesn't happen again. As far as getting back into the league, I mean, hey, I don't know. I don't know if it's a big priority on his list because at the end of the day, he doesn't want to come as a backup. And I think as he realizes that the league is moving on from him, I think he's starting to kind of accept the fact that, hey, I may not be back into the league again. And I think he might be okay with it.
Okay, fair enough, man. I think that we all have a different perspective on the whole situation, but I think JJ's right. When this is all said and done, like a week from now, 2 weeks from now, nobody's even going to remember that this happened. They're going to move on from it, and that's it. So let's talk about our next topic with the NFL before we get into non-sports related stuff. We stopped last week with Green Bay, had Tyler on the show. Week before that, Jacob was with us talking about the Chicago Bears. Still staying in the NFC North here with the Minnesota Vikings. So I want to pull up a graphic to talk about the biggest team needs for Minnesota going into this off-season. So number one on the list is obviously the quarterback position, which Kirk Cousins is set to be a free agent. They expect him to leave, and he's gonna have a lot of suitors. So number one is gonna be quarterback. What are the Vikings gonna do? Are they gonna draft a quarterback, or are they gonna bring in a veteran? And then last year they really had a lot of problems stopping the run. So I want to say interior defensive line could be a topic in the draft. Could be a topic of discussion in the draft. Edge rusher, secondary. I think the Vikings have a lot of work to do when it comes to this roster. And the biggest thing that people are going to talk about is Justin Jefferson. And I'm actually going to say something that when people hear what I'm about to say, they're gonna say that I need to be drug tested. But I want everyone to hear me out. I think that the Minnesota Vikings should consider trading Justin Jefferson, given the position that they're in right now, because it doesn't make a lot of sense for them when they have all these positions that you need and you don't have a quarterback. You don't really have a real direction where the team is going. What's the point of giving Justin Jefferson all this money, as great as he is, when you can flip him, have another team pay him that, and then the compensation that you would get back would put you in a position to build the team and have a good team long term? And they still have Jordan Addison, who's a good receiver. This guy had a good season last year, so it's not like you're going to be left with nothing. So I think the Vikings do have a lot of work to do. I don't know what's going to happen with the whole quarterback thing, but if you really wanted, you're really that in love with Caleb Williams and you wanted to keep the Bears from getting him, then there you go. Flip Justin Jefferson, get a bunch of picks, use the picks, trade up number one, boom, then you go get him.
Yeah.
So I think that may sound crazy, and the Vikings are probably not going to do that. But to me, it does make some sense. But as I said, I think the Vikings have a whole lot of work to do. Jacob, what's your thoughts on Minnesota, since you do play them twice a year with the Bears? What's the direction of this team, and what do you think they need to do going forward?
They're a very, very interesting situation right now because they're talking about letting Kirk Cousins go, a possibility, don't know. But they're talking about the trade of, like you said, Justin Jefferson. They're already letting go of Alexander Madison. They're in this is the situation. I'm thinking back to different, not just football, but different sports teams. You think of someone like the Detroit Red Wings, who basically was getting 28 straight years of playoffs. and they decided we don't want to just get out in the first round anymore. They took a chance, stripped everything, and got their old star Steve Yzerman as a GM. They decided to be patient 3-4 years. Now they're about to be tops again. That works. Sometimes once in a blue moon it works. But then you also get like the Detroit Tigers, who had a World Series and an ALCS 2 straight years, decided to do a strip mine thing out of the blue, and it failed bad, and they haven't recovered. You have that Baltimore sort of did the same thing. It failed. I'm talking about the Orioles. You have that. You have the Bears. The Bears had 2 different times where they had a team that was close to getting somewhere and getting to the top, and they strip-minded to get someone's star, and then it didn't work. If it doesn't work, huh?
Are you talking about when they traded for Khalil Mack?
No, Khalil Mack was actually that part. I was talking about in 08 and then going 09 getting Cutler instead of Orton, which the team was built for Orton, not Cutler. And then the whole situation with Justin Fields and that after. I'm talking about 2 times and they strip mine themselves. If you strip mine yourself, you better know what you're doing. Because I know this from the Bears. You have 1 10-win season in 11 and 12 years. That can happen to Minnesota also if they don't do this right. So if you're not sure, keep what you have, because they were 13-4 2 years ago. If you're not sure, if you're sure, try it, but be careful.
Does anybody else want to chime in?
Well,
Interest. Oh, go ahead, Jay. Take it away.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, now, he brings up a good point about them just 2 seasons ago. They won 12 games, and with the team that they pretty much have. It's anybody's guess what's going to happen with Kirk Cousins. This is another one of those seasons where just when you think, they're going to deal him or he's going to move around, they end up re-signing him for a year, maybe 2 years or something like that. Now, the idea of going to get Caleb Williams, and I know we just all had a session about that guy, and how does he exactly fit in Minnesota? And the thing is Detroit, if he would want to come to Minnesota, me personally, I think he would still want Justin Jefferson there. So, trading, Justin Jefferson and then moving around picks to go and get him, I'd throw that out the window. But I actually was looking on one website, and as far as needing an edge rusher, someone off the line, they actually projected by one site to pick up Dallas Turner from Alabama, who was a premier edge rusher for Alabama. But they could afford to start on defense and work their way back. Not necessarily, not concentrate fully on the defense, because again, you need a running game. You have Jordan Addison, that's always good. You got a decent tight end. Quarterback is the main focus as far as the offense, but defense, Daniel Hunter. You figure you pick up Dallas Turner. What's his name? Yeah, Dallas Turner from Alabama. Now you got your pass rush. Now get some solid linebackers behind them. Maybe you pick up one in the 3rd round or something like that, and then go and get you a defensive back. You at least improve the defense. Now, with that being said, I still couldn't tell you what's going to happen with Minnesota. They're kind of one of those unpredictable teams. Win 12 games, then win 6. Then win 10 games, and then win 8 or something like that. They're probably the most unpredictable team in the NFC North, in my opinion. So it's anybody's guess what's going to happen with them. So my take from all of this is, and I know it's way too early to do season picks for next season, but with that, if they can have a solid draft, just a solid draft, that would at least put them back in contention. All right, JJ, what you got?
Contention for the Super Bowl or contention for...
the division.
Okay.
I'm sorry. The division.
I agree with you guys. The team has talent. They have what they have. TJ Hawkinson came on this year. Jordan Addison looks like a hit at the wide receiver position. You proposed trading Justin Jefferson. Things have happened before, because when you say that, I automatically think of Jacksonville getting rid of Jalen Ramsey type situation where you never thought it was going to happen, but it did. But I'm with Jacob. If you don't have a contingency plan, you might as well just keep what you got. Like at the end of the day, because you're not that far away from possibly competing for things, but at the same time, it's the NFC it's tough, but it's not toughest. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it as a bad thing, but it's just there is a possibility to get through. You know, the one team that you really just gonna have to beat is San Francisco for the most part, because that's the one team that has been the most consistent team in the NFC title game, stopping teams or getting beat by teams to get to the title game. And
they got two teams in their division that can stop them.
They could possibly beat them as well with a good quarterback or a decent quarterback. It's just get you a veteran quarterback. I feel like if they get themselves a veteran quarterback that's like a good quarterback that maybe just had a few things, it could turn into Kurt Warner, Arizona again. It could. You know, at the end of the day, they were building something. They brought one quarterback in and then maybe had a change at the, offensive coordinator and offensive at the coach, but this team has talent. You get a good quarterback here, they could get to the playoffs again. They were just in the playoffs a year or so ago.
Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback.
They got beat by the New York Giants.
Yeah. Now, JJ, do you think they could get back to the playoffs if they run it back one more time with Cousins?
He ain't gonna say something good about Kirk. You know this.
I know. That's why I painted him in the corner.
Here's the thing. Kirk's a good quarterback. He's not a great, he's the stats-ridden quarterback. He's not going to get you to the big time.
Let me talk to my best friend Amsterdam Pineapple for a second, then I'm going to give you my thought.
To those of y'all who don't know, when we all met years ago, that was actually one of the first debates we had was about Kirk Cousins. At the time, Kirk Cousins was in Washington. He hates the Redskins Commanders, Washington football team. So yeah. What's up, Joey? Captain Kirk.
JJ hated Kirk more when he was with Washington than he does now.
Yeah,
I think they could be a 7 seed or a 6 seed or so, because I do think that Detroit has a little bit of a lock on that division, and I actually think Chicago's going to get better. I don't know which direction they're going, but I wish. But
it's definitely one direction. It's definitely one direction. That's for sure.
I feel really good.
I think they can get there. I think what they need to do is really start to get back to that run game. Yeah. I think because when they were at the run game going, that's when they really were at their best, and that is when it's the best thing for a quarterback to have a run game. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's the best thing to have a run game. And the reason why I say that is the greatest quarterback of all time, LeGarrette Blount, helped win a Super Bowl for him. And when he saw the opportunity for him, LeGarrette Blount got fed the ball. At the end of the day, every quarterback needs a run game. So if they get a run game in Minnesota again, it's possible. We might be able to do a swap. We got the guy from Minnesota. They might get the guy that might be leaving Baltimore, and
Here's one thing I'll say. And I like Cousins. You're hearing me talk about that I want to see Cousins in Chicago. I said it. But remember what I've also said, Denzel and James. My idea was him going to Chicago and drafting lower so you develop longer. You've got a guy that knows his stuff. He's got 4,000-yard years, and you can get a 6th or 7th seed, where the Bears would love to have that. Minnesota has better talent than Chicago. Chicago needs a start. So Minnesota can be close, so you have to decide.
I can't really get behind the idea of Kirk Cousins to the Bears because it will cost the Bears too much money. A team is going to throw money at Kirk Cousins in free agency. I have a pretty good feeling about that. A team I could see the Raiders doing that. I could see the Falcons doing that. I could see the Patriots doing that. But this team, the Chicago Bears, I think that they're going to trade Justin Fields and they're going to get a draft pick for him. and then they're going to build around whatever rookie quarterback that they do.
Well, they keep failing at that, though. That's why I want to see that. I would take, I mean, even as crazy as it's been, I would take Russell Wilson. I'd take any of this thing. They keep failing. It doesn't get better.
I'd say Wilson or Tannehill or someone, but Kirk, I think, is going to be like a hot free agent that a bunch of teams are going to be bidding for.
Okay, Tannehill,
want
Wilson.
To stop at quarterback until they sign their guy at the future. Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah.
You know,
Tannehill, Wilson, whatever. I'm cool. Just get a bridge. But the Bears have to build. Minnesota doesn't need to build that much right now. That's why I say it's risky.
I got an idea for you. How about Chicago Bears Carson Wentz?
Okay.
And you know,
I'm saying okay.
And Jacob, you know, and I'll just ask you this, because we, you know, of course the talk has been Caleb Williams to Chicago.
Yeah.
But to you, what's wrong with JD5 in Chicago or Michael Penix? Would you rather any of those two?
JD5, you talking about Daniels? I want Daniels. I said this. I've been saying this today on Twitter. I want Daniels, Penix, or Bo Nix for myself. Bo Nix played with a busted leg at Auburn. We played a whole game after he busted in the second quarter. Dude's got dog all day long in him.
Yeah, he does.
I want those. I mean, Jaden Daniels takes all kinds of hits. I want dog in them if they want to be that.
I think if you're about to build it,
I think if you're about to.
But to answer your thing, James, the Bears are not close. You're talking about Carson Wentz? Okay. 9-8. Let's just pretend. 9-8.
JJ.
Huh?
Just want to go to JJ real quick.
Okay.
No, I go after him real quick. It's all good.
No. I'm just real saying. 9-8. Okay, 10-7 at the most, 8-9, whatever. The Bears are not in Minnesota's realm. So go get a veteran that knows the offenses that you don't have to get that. Go get a lower rank, and you've already got Tyson Bagent with 4 starts and 2-2. So build things little by little. The Bears keep trying to put their infrastructure on wet sand all the time.
Well, they're trying to be something they're not also, and I get your point about, you know, we talked about this a little bit ago with box office. You talked about JD5 just now and Bo Nix, okay? And how they got dog in them. Yeah. Dog versus diva. Versus diva.
Yep.
They want Caleb Williams because he's box office. He just happened to go to Southern California where LA is. He won the Heisman. They want box office. Chicago's not a box office team.
I
now,
know.
On top of that, Minnesota's not a box office team like that as well.
Right.
Really no team in the NFC North.
You can be box office but not be soft. There's a lot of players that are box office, but they're not soft. But JJ, what were you gonna say?
So, I like Michael Penix. I think he's fit for today's game. He runs a spread offense. He can get to any type of defense, any type of level. You know, whether we like the, Pac-12, they are into the offensive era the way that they've been in the era for a long time. But I think we live in such a world of instant gratification that we don't want to take that 1 or 2, which is ironic to me. We don't want to take that 1 or 2 years to kind of just continue to build when these teams have been so bad for so long. San Francisco did not start out this way. When John Lynch got there, they built that offensive line, and it took maybe 2 or 3 seasons before they really took off. At the end of the day, you need to get your offensive line together. No quarterback is going to thrive in Chicago until they know how to protect the goddamn quarterback at the end of the day. And that goes for even Justin Fields. You give him an offensive line. You give him a chance to get time. He can see what he can do about it. And yeah, he's had bad plays. Yeah, he had bad plays with the whole, what's it called? Seeing the read and not hitting the right person. But a lot of quarterbacks go through that. It's a lot. It's a big business. It's hard to be a quarterback. But in terms of the whole Vikings thing, I mean, Caleb Williams, Diva, and the Penix, I like Penix. I think Penix is going to be the one that people are not really remembering. And people are kind of just, saying, oh, he did good, but like Caleb Williams more. I think Penix got it. I like Penix. And I think that's the guy I would do, because with Chicago itself, you have talent. You got a tight end. He's good. I like Cole Kmet. You got a great wide receiver 1 and DJ Moore. And then you have a run game that would be running better if you had an offensive line. Just repair that offensive line, and I think you'll be fine. Your defense started to figure it out towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
They started to get better. And Will Times with defense. Jalen Johnson, if Tremaine Edmonds can stay healthy, that would be a good one because he's a tackling machine. And it's like, at the end of the day, defenses need to take time before they become great. The Ravens had a great defense this year, but last year they were staggering a little bit. It took time to learn the defense. It took time to get together and know each other. So you know, if my linebacker goes this way, I as a DB go this way. It takes time. But they're figuring it out. It's just, you need to, if you're going to pick a quarterback in the rookie, I like Penix. That's my favorite quarterback.
You know what? I don't blame you on that one because Penix, and some people, say, well, his performance in the national title game should drop his stock. I don't think it should. I don't think it should at all. I think that flat out they lost to the better team. Michigan, as a matter of fact, had been the best team in college football since like week 6. So Penix losing to him really is not a shock, But he still
judging a player based off of one game instead of like however many years he started is very dumb. And I don't know why people do that.
And people have done that. It happened with Troy Smith. Troy Smith won the Heisman. Got cut in half by Florida in the national title game. He ends up going 6th round. Now I know some of it they said they weren't too sold on his height because he's only like 5'10", But think of how many teams like probably missed out because they thought, he crashed and burned in the national title game. Dude, that Florida team was disgusting. No one was beating them. So,
but
I'm with you.
I'm not. Hold on, Jay. I love you for bringing him up because we ended up drafting him at my Ravens, and the Miami Dolphins' one win came when he was playing quarterback.
Just to wrap this topic up, it seems like everyone here doesn't know who they would have as the number 1 quarterback. We all have someone different, but none of us has Caleb Williams as the number 1 quarterback. So.
Caleb Williams appreciation night.
This is the official anti-Caleb Williams agenda episode. But we got to move on to our non-sports topics. So we changed things up and we created a new thing that's called Pass the Mic, which is where we're going to have multiple topics. Kind of like what we do with the rapid fire, but we obviously have much more time to do them. And once the one person goes, we're going to go around and have our topic and then pass the mic to another person who will choose another topic. So I'm going to start us with this one. And I want to know, would you guys rather be able to talk to animals or...
I know what Joey picking.
Or... Bro, shut up. Let me finish this. Or the second option is you can speak every language fluently. Not just like you know the language and like you can talk to some people. Like you could really, really speak the language or you talk to animals.
I speak every language fluently. I mean, you can go any corner on this planet and speak their native tongue, probably better than them. Yeah, I'll take that all day long. But speaking of animals, that's actually a great take right there. Joseph, who you got? Or what you got?
Obviously the animals. Are you kidding me?
So far we go.
I love languages and I do see the appeal of it, but I also like being a novice and having them teach me. Animals, I could sit there and be like, I'd be sitting there looking at Mr. Squirrel like, Mr. Squirrel, I'm sorry for us humans. I'm so sorry. I'm just so sorry about that. I know we're crazy. I want to be Dr. Doolittle. I sure do. I sure the heck do. Because I talk to animals anyway, and I think they understand me. I am a dog. I feel like I was reincarnated as a human from an animal. I really feel like that I was an animal because I love animals. Don't matter. Cats, dogs, lizards, servals, iguanas, motos, you know it. I'm with it. I want to talk to them because I would just tell them, listen, I love y'all. And I know he's crazy.
Okay, bro. I'm not picking animals because there's no point of being able to talk to every single animal. Like, if a raccoon is eating out of my trash, like, what conversation am I going to have with a raccoon?
I'm gonna call the
Sweet
cops
sir.
on you.
Sir,
Call the cops on you.
do you know about my dad's raccoon family, Betty and her 3 kids, Alfred, Jerry, and John? Are you kidding me?
I thought it was
I
Alvin
said-
Simon
Our family
Theodore.
to eat someone else's trash, not mine.
I used to feed those raccoons, and they used to come know when I was coming. I'd be like, "Hey, Betty, where's your kids?" And we was talking.
And you can point out who was Betty
I
and
would
who
do
was Alfred.
languages all day long.
That's Jacob. What you got, man?
Oh, here's the thing.
I love this topic.
Biggest dog lover alive. I even got 2 voices for dogs. The big goofy dogs. Oh, puppy dog. Oh, hello, puppy dog. We go dog. You know that kind. And then the little one. Lee. You know that kind of thing. You know that's the deal. Loved it. But it's easily every language, every, and it's because. As in the human side of it, I want to be able to go. I want to be able to do international business trade, stuff like that. Whether it's for movies, whether it's our stuff that we do now, any of that, and be able to speak their language, do everything. As far as the dogs go, or the animals or everything, I just kind of like the goofy look on them. You know, they're just like they look at you. You're speaking English to them. Oh,
Yeah.
feed me. Yeah, I don't know how cute they'd be if they could speak back to you.
Okay, I'm passing the mic to JJ. JJ, you got a topic?
Oh, go back to somebody else.
Okay, I'm passing the mic back to Jay.
All right. Mine's pretty simple. So on a scale, if you haven't guessed, I'm probably going hip hop. Yes, as a matter of fact, I am. On a scale of 1 to 5 stars, rate 50 Cent's "Get Rich or Die Trying" and why.
I'm giving it a 5, bro. Like, it's got so many classic bangers on there.
Yeah.
Many men wish death upon me.
Yeah.
Like, everybody loves that song, bro. So I have no reason not to give it a 5. I'm giving it a 5.
You thought the album was flawless?
That's the greatest. Yeah, like overall, he's got some of his best songs on there. So I would say yes. And that is one of the hardest songs ever. Like, do you remember when Brian Robinson got shot?
Yeah.
And then he missed like however many games, and then when he came out, they were playing that song.
Yeah.
That's an iconic, legendary song, bro. That was hard. So yeah, I'm giving it a 5 for sure.
Yeah, I'm giving them a 5. That's a literal hip hop changing. I get on so many debates on Facebook about this. That was a literal hip hop changing album because of his background, and then he signed to M and Dre, so the production was there. You know, he was, kind of tutored to like sharpen his game from the underground circuit. And this was just 50 Unstoppable. Like, you take Many Men, you take In the Club, one of the more well-known club bangers of the last 20-25 years. He had like 3 or 4 more Wankster, like all these singles that came out at the time period off that one album, and it went diamond. And I know we're not all about record sales and everything because, you hear some of the trash nowadays and that sells, but still, and mind you, this was no streaming. He sold 10 mil when you actually had to get your ass up and go to the store and buy the CD.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and you sold 10 mil, you went diamond? Bro, you that guy, rookie or not. I got to give it 5. I got to give it 5 mics, dude.
He had the perfect story. It was his life story, basically. So when you guys shot as many times as you are, shout out to him for capitalizing on that. So when he was speaking, when he was rapping, he was really rapping from the heart because he lived what he was speaking about. And I got to give it to him because I was a G Unit fan. Shout out Tony. Shout out Lloyd Banks. That's my guy. But at the end of the day, he did it. Because think about it. He had the movie that came out too, right after the album came out. He literally was telling people, this is what I've been through, and I'm going to turn it into my own lemonade. That's my lemon. I'm going to turn it into lemonade. And he did a dang good job because In the Club, I remember that. In the Club was being played everywhere. Anywhere. If you brought it from the club, you got what you need, my mind, all that good stuff. Like, I mean, come on. I always loved it because, I liked him on The Candy Shop. All that good stuff. Love him. Love 50. Love 50. And at the end of the day, people talk about Jay, but 50 went to Vitamin Water back in the day when people were like, what? What's going on here? He was one of the people that was like seeing the vision down the line, like, yeah, I made this album. but now I'm here, but now I'm invested in this so I can continue staying here.
Yeah, and actually was unconventional of him because normally when you get hip hop artists, they'll come out with like a vodka or something like Jay had Armandale, or they come out with a cognac. Luda has cognac and everything. Fifth took the healthy route and came out with vitamin. He signed a deal with Coca-Cola and came out with vitamin water. Like he's like, okay, like down the line, some people might stop drinking, but I mean, this you could drink forever. So like vitamin water, man, that was genius. So how many stars would you give it, JJ? 5?
Oh yeah, I it's one of the few rap albums that I actually know. I mean, I don't think to be real. It's one of the few rap because at that time I was a kid. I did listen to rap as a teenager. I did listen to rap at that time, and I loved 50, big time on 50, my guy. And I like that he's always been one to like. That was his life. That was his life. We got a taste of what he really went through.
Absolutely.
I just see Jacob sitting there just like, yeah.
No, I'm not. I have never listened to a whole rap album in my life. Let's go on to the next one.
Okay, man. All right,
I just admit it. It's like there's not a lot of things where I don't know the subject, but I absolutely do not know this.
Well, okay. Well, then how about this? What are your quick thoughts on, I don't know, 50 Cent as a businessman and an entertainer? Just from what you said.
Good. I mean, as far as a businessman, it's like you got to realize he kept him for everything he started. He got himself out of trouble, overall in comparison. So as a businessman, everything, vitamin water, doing all that kind of stuff, good for him because guess what? Now you have Snoop.
Yeah.
Now you have Snoop, and look what he's doing, especially with the CBDs and everything like that. Yeah. And it's leading to a lot of other people, which guess what? Hogan, Mike Tyson, Ric Flair. So it's just everybody. Hip hop has really gotten out of the niche. It's getting into the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like, and I do have a subject for myself to be able to when they mind to hand it to me. It just depends who they want to hand it to.
Go ahead, man. It's just on you.
Okay. Now this is the thing. We're all trying to build a business and get our stuff with the sideline sports. Trying to do all this right now, and then all of our other stuff we might have on the side. So, of all the 4 of you and everything right now, say that we are 18 years old tomorrow. It could be this, or it could be anything else. What business would we want to start from scratch and try to be a billionaire?
James?
Like any business?
Yes, any business. It could be this, or it could be anything.
I mean, running a business, you need to do something that you actually, first of all, know stuff about and actually love it or passionate. There's a lot of people that start businesses, but they don't really love the thing that they're doing, and then it doesn't work out. So then they move on to the next thing. So yes, of course I would do it. And I feel like more years that goes by, the more I feel like we actually are building something and having more success. Not only with doing journalism with sideline sports, but from a business standpoint and like feeling like we're actually in the circle instead of being outside of it. So we've earned our respect for building things. I think sports media is definitely a real business that you can build. We're going to continue to build on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mine, absolutely. I would love to do what we're doing right now. Don't get it wrong. But I would love to start with real estate. Be able to have a setup, just get started from the beginning, make calls, do all that. I can say calls, just meet people in person since I do that. But I hate phones anyway. But it's like just meet people in person and make deals and stuff. I would love to be able to take the money I make from that and help build this thing bigger and faster.
Sweet.
That kind of thing. It's like absolutely real estate, but I love this type of thing. But I would love to be able to do and just build a bunch of different businesses, but start with real estate.
I think I'd open up a gym.
Mm-hmm.
I'd always loved lifting and everything, and not only that, but it's something that could
because you're a
sustained for
musclehead.
a really long time. Yeah, admittedly, but and we've talked about this, Jacob. Sting owned like 3 gold gyms before he got into the wrestling business. And it'd be really great because not too far from here, down in Pearland. Matter of fact, JJ, that time you came here and the time we went and got wings and drinks, it was right next door. Actually, no, scratch that. It wasn't next door. It was right down the way, but still on the same
It was the
street.
gym we passed by. I remember seeing it.
That was the UFC one. So yeah, there's that one. But Floyd Mayweather actually has a gym. It's a small gym that's in the town center, down in the town center and everything. And he apparently has like 44 of those, like nationwide. And you walk in there and it's set up nice. They got the ring in there. They have the weight sets and everything you need to kind of train. Nothing too difficult. I wouldn't, I wouldn't want like no great big old like gym or whatever. Just give me something little, compact, and then I can just open up another one and another one, and keep people, with the fitness deal and whatever it is they want to do. So there's a mat if they want to roll around and train for that next match or something, or if they want to go and hit the bench press and train for some contest for that, or just to keep in shape. Yeah, I think I'd open up a gym.
Would you want to do a Cena type gym, that was called Hard Knocks, and it was the one that didn't have anything? Yeah, they didn't have anything. The state of the art, just weights, and you throw up.
No, I'd be a little bit more advanced than that, but I do exactly see where you're coming from because, well, let's face it, that's how the wrestlers trained in the 80s. All you had was weights, and that was it.
Yeah.
But, JJ, what about you?
So I have one question. Are we based off of real life or just like overall?
It can be either. It can be what you want to do now or what you would have made a different. Like we're starting at 18 years old. If you would have had that idea in your head, what you think of now, what would you have started at? Or it can be something you enjoy, or you.
The reason why I'm asking is I wish Pokemon were real.
I knew it. I knew he was going to say Pokemon. I knew it.
To introduce the world
You would be
to
Ash.
Pokemon. No, I would be JJ, and JJ beat Ash in the game several times with his lineup because I love Pokemon. I'm a kid at heart at certain things, and at the end of the day, I'll be sitting high on the motherfucking stand with my Houndoom and my Alakazam right next to me, showing the world why Pokemon are amazing. But on the real, it would obviously be
a Pokemon
it would
store.
obviously be like a doggy daycare or so because I literally love animals, and it's just at the end of the day because
Charizard, baby.
Charizard is a great one too. My brother had red version. I had got blue version first, so Blastoise was like literally my first real love. Oh, I got my Game Boy right over here, and I got my green, crystal, and yellow version sitting in that joint. So what you want to do about it? Let's talk. We got it. But anyway, I love dogs. I love animals. I love period because at the end of the day, they remind you that you could do all they want to do is just love you. All they want to do is just love you. All they want to do is just be around you. And they're so cute. Like at the end of the day, a puppy dog eyes can get me to do any dang thing. But I just love connecting with them. I love seeing animals who can't they can't communicate with their mouth, but they can communicate in any other way. And you really start to understand. It shows how smart they are. So obviously I would start a doggy daycare or a pet daycare. Bring your animals to me. I'm the perfect person if you want to get away from your animal. I am the perfect person. I'll walk it for you. I will feed him. I will play with him. I will give you a break from your dog. Don't be
and
mad
then
at
get rid of them at the end of the day.
No, not at all. If you want me to take him home, that's perfect. Don't be mad.
I'm not surprised by JJ's answer, but I literally knew before you were going to say anything, I knew you were going to say like something about Pokemon. I don't know how I knew it, but like I knew Pokemon was coming. I knew it.
You know me. And trust me, believe, James, when I come up to Philly, Mango ain't going to know you by the time I'm done with him. That's my boy. I love him dearly. That's my man.
JJ, last question's on you.
Oh, crap. Okay, let's go.
What Pokemon would you take if you know?
No, I was going to sit here and say, if you were a mutant, what power would you want?
Any
and why?
Superpower?
in the X-Men universe,
I
what
don't know. Do they
power
have,
would you want?
Okay.
do they have teleportation?
Yeah,
Okay, then I want that. 'Cause that would be so convenient.
that's
I
it.
could get anywhere
Nightcrawler
I want
teleport.
within like just like that teleportation.
Now the only difference is with Nightcrawler, he has to know where he's going in order for him to teleport. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jay.
He does. He has
Okay,
to know where
then whatever, bro. Like, do you know how much money I would save on with gas? I would just be like, boom, work, boom, home.
Right, wake up at
Grocery
8
store.
o'clock. Got to be at work 8:05. Boop, we're there.
That's it, bro. Teleportation. I don't care if I gotta know where everything's at. Teleportation.
I'm very curious for you guys' answers. We're all comic guys. I'm very curious.
Wolverine's claws is kind of too easy. You know what? I'm gonna have to go with Cyclops, dude. I mean, like an optic blast at its peak can level a mountain in half. Yeah, I'll take that any day.
Man, I'll let Jacob go, but I will tell you, when that first X-Men came out, and you remember that moment they were trapped in the Statue of Liberty, and Jean Grey got his glasses, his goggles to his face, and he opened up. You saw his red eyes.
Oh yeah.
I fell in love with Cyclops for that moment. I loved Cyclops. Great choice. Great choice.
Go ahead, Jacob.
I'm going to
And
create
great
my own.
choice to you.
As a kid, it would have been super strength. It would have been Hulk or something, you know? Not anymore.
Not
I
Colossal?
will tell you, I have the most unique mutants, the power. I want eidetic memory. The idea that you take one look at something for 3 seconds and remember it all. It means information. It has the idea with business. It means you know everybody. You know what's going on. You know the thing around you. You can do all languages. You can get everything. You have all information. So that would be mine. Eidetic memory.
Okay. Interesting enough, my favorite mutant that I grew up loving has a similar feature. She can adapt to anybody she wants. She can be whoever she wants and have their powers. Mystique is whose powers I have always loved. Mystique. Always loved her. My favorite somewhat good, somewhat bad thing, because literally she could do whatever she wants. People don't realize how amazing Mystique actually is. And I love her. That's whose powers I really want. I want her. I do. I also love Psylocke. But I have to go with Mystique.
All right, bro. I mean, that's definitely some interesting debates that we had tonight. Definitely with the superpowers and everything. Great episode. Jacob, we want to thank you for coming out.
Appreciate you.
Tell everyone about Pundit and like all the shows that you're a part of.
Oh, yeah. Pundit, where James was on last night and Denzel. And you'll be on soon, JJ. We'll get you. And it's like, and what it is like, it's like a news magazine. It's like a news magazine. We talk about different, it's like last night we did a little bit of easier. We talked about like the grading of the grades of the NFL teams based off of all that. But we also talk about the future of sport, of money, of the women's sports, of all that stuff. And we talk about different things sometimes outside of sports. So that's what we do with that too. And plus I'm 4 to 5 days a week here. 4 to 5 days doing that thing. And I'm off the bench here, so I'm always proud to be on this.
Alrighty.
All right, and that's going to wrap it up for us. We will see you guys next Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern for another episode of The Gauntlet. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Gauntlet!
Yep.